Hello and welcome to Arts 24. He's a dancer, choreographer, and artistic director of the Grand Théâtre in Geneva, Sidi Larbi Cherkaoui. Hello, you join us on set today. Thank you. Welcome. Now, your latest project is Bolero. It's showing at the Théâtre du Châtelet here in Paris this weekend. It's a collaboration with the Belgian-French choreographer, dancer, and performer Damien Jallet and the Serbian artist Marina Abramovic. We're going to talk about it in a second, but first, let's take a look. So in Bolero, you revisit one of the French composer Maurice Ravel's most famous compositions dating back to 1928. Can you tell us what this piece is about?
Yes, I think with Damien Jallet and also with Marina, we were trying to, one of the original works, and there's been so many, but one specific one that we took as a reference was the one from Maurice Béjart, the one where one dancer is in the middle on a table and he's kind of like the center of attention, a gorgeous choreography. And we felt like we wanted to decentralize the dancer and sort of have all these dancers be coexisting in a constellation. So it became a bit like a cosmic event. We had this idea of the big mirror that would make it possible to look at the choreography from above. So through the mirror, you could actually see the dancers and the patterns that are quite, at times feel chaotic, but actually constantly reorganize themselves. With Riccardo Tisci, who made the costumes, we worked on transparency, trying to make the body almost translucent. So they begin almost first in these big drapes of black cloth, and slowly they unravel, and more you almost see their skeletal elements. And so the idea of gender also is completely blurred because, deep down we're just human beings. And so this kind of like was the notion of almost as if they were like some sort of gods starting to rotate and slowly become more and more human.
Okay, and now in another one of your works is called Ihsane. It just finished its showing also at the Théâtre du Châtelet. You'll head on a European tour this summer with that show and then to Montreal in October. And now Ihsane is actually the second installment of a two-part series that's dedicated to your parents. What does Ihsane mean in Arabic?
Ihsane is like a feeling of, how to be the best you can be, your best sort of behavior, but it's a very spiritual word. And I was very, I was looking for what is the legacy of my father? Like, how does that transcend through me? And I had a very conflicting relationship with my dad, actually, when I was young, and he died when I was 19. I didn't go to his funeral, which I really regretted. It's 30 years ago. And I feel like the performance was a way of honoring him and trying to sort of bring everything that I feel like he's been able to transmit me, because now I am him. I am here as a representative of what is left of him. And so I felt that sense of responsibility of trying to create this work in honor of him, the same way I had made a couple of years ago a work for my mom, who's Flemish. And I've always been asked when I was a kid, do you feel more Moroccan or more Belgian? Which I think is a terrible thing to ask people coming from two cultures, because we are both. And so for me, Ihsane is like a way of honoring Morocco, Tanger, the city where my father's from and where I'm from in a way, and my brother, and like that whole. And Ihsane is also the name of a young man, he was 33 years old, who got killed in Belgium, in Liège, in 2012. And this was a homophobic act, of aggression, the first one in Belgium. And this boy's name was Ihsane. And I felt very connected to his story because this could have been me. I'm a queer artist. I felt like what happened to him could have happened to me. I met his father, an incredible man, Hassan Jarfi, who created a foundation against homophobia in Morocco. His father is an Islam teacher, so it's an amazing, beautiful gesture of him to create a foundation against homophobia. So this work is also dedicated to Ihsane Jarfi.
Okay, so a multi-layered work, not just examining the relationship with your father, but also queer identity. Let's take a look at Ihsane. Sidi Larbi, what drew you to dance?
I think it was looking for health. Like I really feel like dancing really brought me back to life. Like I think if I wouldn't have danced, I might not be sitting here right now. I think it really saved my life. I feel a lot of people would need dance in their lives to have a more fulfilling life. But to be very, like I used to draw when I was a kid, and then eventually I missed social contact, and I feel like dancing really brought out the idea of like sharing space and time and art with others. And I love that it wasn't competitive, you know, because a sport, you always have to defeat the other. And in dance, you just don't have to do that. You just have to get better at it, and you actually share it with others. So
it's like a personal journey of growth.
Yeah, it was a way of finding myself. I felt also the most free in dance. I think I am a person who's looking for freedom, and I think it's a very difficult concept to be a free person. And for me, dancing was the most free because it's where the movement is the most open and you can actually do what you really think is the right thing to do.
Now, you also choreographed sequences for Madonna's Like a Prayer song in the Celebration tour last year. In addition, you also choreographed Beyoncé and Jay-Z's Apeshit video. How did those two projects come about?
Well, I think Beyoncé saw my work in 2016, and she reached out and asked me if I was interested in working on something for her. We worked on the Grammys, which was a really, when she was pregnant, which was an incredible project where she was on a table and we had created a whole choreography there with a team of choreographers, Jacquel Knight and Anthony and Chris, a lot of very cool people that I got to work with, and then we just kept contact. So I worked on Spirit for one of the songs that she did for the for like a movie, a Walt Disney movie, and and this Apeshit was very particular because it was here in Paris, It was here in France, and it was in the middle of the night that we were filming this, and I proposed this idea of like almost having the dancers be like goddesses, sort of icons on a, you know, as if they would be statues there. And she loved the idea. And then eventually I started referencing also to American artists like Martha Graham, you know, an incredible choreographer who made a huge impact on dance. And so these contractions are actually honoring Martha and trying to kind of like have a sort of history of dance inside of a space that has a history of the world.
And the Madonna video, how did that collaboration come about?
Madonna is thanks to Damien Jallet, an artist who had already worked with her and who also often works with me. And he kind of recommended me to her. We met in New York. It was a lovely encounter. And as the ideas were sort of appearing, because she has very strong ideas of what she'd like to do with this celebration tour, I could make proposals and suggest certain things and work and develop a choreography which was like a zoetrope, you know, like some sort of big element that kept turning around, and every time every dancer would somehow be in this journey of Christ, and it was really linked to her Italian roots of this Catholic roots, and I loved working on this project because it's sort of, I mean, this music, I used to listen to it 30 years ago as well. I was just a big fan. And so it took so long to be working with her because I always wanted to work with her when I was a kid. And so it's been a really exciting experience.
Is it a challenge to choreograph for somebody else?
It's kind of exciting because you get to do what they would like to do. And I always say, like, as a choreographer, I feel like it's their choreography. Like, I make it for them, but also I make it through them. So they are the ones who are really telling me where to go. And in that sense, it feels it's my work, but mainly it's their work.
Okay, well, here on Arts 24, we ask our guests to give us their cultural pick of the moment. You've picked a TV series, Sidi Larbi. Tell us more.
Yeah, I picked White Lotus because I just saw season 3 and I thought it was brilliant. In many ways, it's like the worst of humanity and some of the best of it also coming
sometimes.
up. And so I thought it was, I've followed the season, and Mike White, I think, is a very smart writer, and the way he plays with our expectations and at the same time, keeps us on the edge of our seat with very little. Like, I love the simplicity of certain things. And so it's, and I love the actors. I think they are very touching. They're very giving. You can feel like it's an ensemble, they work together. And so it doesn't feel like people that are standing out, but actually each of them is collaborating with the others. And there's something about that vibe that really, really moves me.
Indeed, the satire in The White Lotus is always very much on point. Thank you so much, Sidi Larbi Cherkaoui, for coming on set here at France 24. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to leave you now with a little look at The White Lotus Season 3 out right now. But stay with us on France 24. More news coming up.
We're still the same people we were in the 10th grade.
You're always disappointed.
And you're always fake, and you're vain and selfish.
What if this life is just a test to see if we can become better people?
No. What?
Someone once said, the secret to life is knowing when to stop.
Go big or go home, right?
Mm-hmm. In a goddamn body bag.